Hello, and welcome to the 65th episode of the But I'm Knitting Podcast. As Ramona tries to adjust, I think. No, this works better. Okay, welcome to the 65th episode of the But I'm Knitting Podcast. My name is Ramona. I'm a knitter from Toronto, and welcome to my corner of the crafting world as I try and adjust everything. Get forward. It'll have to do. Okay, so it's been a month since my last episode. Things happen, and this thing is blinding me. Hold on. Oh, close enough. All right, just to guess a little bit of light. So it's been a hot month since I've updated anything. That doesn't mean I wasn't knitting. In that entire time, I've done Scrapmas 2018, where I used up leftovers to make socks. I've actually done some stash acquisition, which doesn't happen very often, as you know. Not just yarn, but other things that are like knitting related. So, and I cast on a new project because I felt like it, so I did. So let's start with my Scrapmas. So there are two major things that I did for Scrapmas. I worked on my blanket, and I worked on a pair of scrappy socks with leftovers of yarn that I dyed myself. I guess first thing I'll do is if I can, show you the leftover yarns for all of them. I did about 10 grams of yarn that I took out for each one of these, and somehow or another, it still have like 5 grams of each one left. So there's like more than enough. So I don't know if you can see in there. This is all of my leftovers. That is just sitting inside of here. All of my leftovers. This container I actually got from work. I got it because it looks like, hold on, let me try. Can I show better? Yeah. It actually looks like it's knitted with cables and all of that kind of stuff, which I thought was really, really cool. So I picked it up. My coworkers pretty much knew when they saw it, oh yeah, Ramona would love this, so they put it aside for me. So there's this. So this container I got with all my leftovers. I think as I work on things, if I have leftovers, like small enough ones, I'm going to dump them in here. That's going to be the home for them now. So that's all the leftovers that's left for it. First, let's start with my socks. I finished a pair of socks. I finished a pair of socks. So I did these, I started them toe up with undyed, and every day, roughly every day, I added a stripe onto them until I finished them. It ended up taking me until the 25th of December instead of the 24th, mostly due to the fact that there are times when I was away, and my blanket, if you've ever seen it, it's big, it's bulky, it's not easy to carry around, so it would take time to catch up. And then, of course, the cuffs take a little bit longer for them to be done than the, 5 color stripes. So, took a bit of time. So they are done. Both feet, all with yarns that I dyed myself, which made me very, very happy for that. They were, in a sense, like an update of my first scrappy socks. I learned a lot from these ones. These ones I did earlier on in 2018, I believe. These were just random sock yarns, not just ones that I dyed, although there are some in there. These ones, the difference between the old ones and the new ones. The old ones, I did 10 row stripes, and yeah, so I did 10 row stripes for these ones. This one got to show off more, and I did 5 row stripes. So things that I've learned is how many rows it takes for me to get from heel to beginning of toe. 60 rows. So that's something I learned from that. I learned from this, and I incorporated into this, which made it easy to do the rest of it. The only thing that I wish I had learned how to do, or had looked up again, or reminded myself to check, was the jogless stripes, because you can see it all the way down one side. It's a little bit not centered. I wish I had, done that better. But if I do Scrapmas again next year, I will be prepared. I will try my best to look it up so that I know what I need to do for that. So that's part 1 of my Scrapmas 2018. Part 2 matches the socks, because whatever I did for one day, I did it for the other day. I did it for the other project. Hold on. This is the needles that I used for it. My 1.5 Xiaogu needles. Oh, before I forget, for the socks. So I did them on I did the magic loop. I used a 0 US, which is a 2 millimeter, and 64 stitches. I did is it the Turkish cast on? Or the figure 8 is maybe what it's called, to do them toe up. And I just went at it, and I did the stretchy bind off. I can't remember. It's one that I've done for that I've done for other socks that I do toe up, and that's what I did. I actually, this actually made me really like the concept of toe up, and I may just start doing it more often. So that's that. Okay, for my sock blanket, I always use a 1.5 Xiaogu, which I think is a 2.5 millimeter. I have these needles set aside specifically for that, so they're always like stuck in the project, and one of the days they'll not be there anymore. So hold on, I have to unfold it because it's massive. Okay, so I did squares on my blanket. So this was day 0. This is my starting square. This brooch was given to me by someone I've known my entire life. She really likes brooches, or she really loved brooches. And currently right now she lives in a nursing home, and she's going through Alzheimer's, so she doesn't always remember things. But I don't know if it was when she started to realize that was a problem, she gave me this brooch because she knew I like the color green. So this brooch is always going to be important to me. I've never been a person who likes brooches or even wears them, but I've always liked her collection, and I'm always going to be grateful for that. So when I started this out, I just put undyed skein square right there, and then I put in all of my squares. You think I know my shapes by now? So I'll just show them to you. Let me see where we go from there. So it's all the top row that you see. So there, my avocado pink, my beautiful sunshine yellow, my Greninja. This one I have not used in a project, but I know what project I'm using it for. I did a pair of socks out of these ones so far. I don't remember what I used this one for. This one I have not used. I have it balled up and waiting to go. This orange one I used in my Candyman socks that I just did recently. These ones I used in, what did I use this ones for? Golden Ticket. This one I used in a shawl that I did, my doodler shawl. I used this one. This black one, what did I use this one for? I used it in something, but I can't remember what it was for. Okay. These ones, I did a sock that I don't think I've ever really shown. It's called, but I know I named this yarn Cheeto Dust Print. This hot pink, I've used this one for heel cuffs and toes. I'm pretty certain that's what I've used it for. This one, I don't remember. This gray one, oh, now I remember. These two, they were for a project that I never finished. I unwound them, so the yarn is just sitting down there waiting to be used. I don't think I've used this one yet. This one I used in my doodler shawl. This blue one, I'm not sure yet. This one, this is actually a new cast on that I'm working on right now. It's called Cisco. I'll talk about it more afterwards. This one, I've done this one before. I have a self-striping version that I've done, and I have a, I guess you can call it a micro stripe, now that I understand how that works. So that's, but it looks, because of how small this is, it looks more like a self-striping right there. This one is this one has a project that will be done for it. I don't know if you can tell, but they're little specks of color. You can't really see it too tough. But there is like little pops of pink and blue. I used, for this one, this was just a dye experiment. I used, you know those balls of sprinkles that you use for baking? That's what I used for that. And then this is the last one. So I put it on 25 squares in total on my blanket. So that's the most consistently I've worked on it in about 2 years. Because I think about 2 years ago I did, I ended up working on it all the way from January to beginning of April. That was like the most chunks I've ever done on that. I think last time I checked I had 400 and something. Let me check on Instagram. It's not going to be exactly, it's not going to be exact because I've done more since I put that up there. Hold on, waiting for it to load. Let's go through that way. It's one of my beginning ones. 456, but that was on day 6 that I've done that. So I've added an extra 12 onto there since then. So that would make it up to 468. That's how much I should have on here. I should have 468 on here. But here's the thing. what I want on here, it's going to be almost 1,500 squares. This is going to be, I already knew from the beginning, this is going to be a long, long project, but I love this thing. So I'm going to inelegantly drop it up beside me, put my needles with it so I don't forget, and get to talking about the other stuff that I've done. Okay, so let's talk about my new cast on / work in progress. Actually, no, let's go. This is my, I guess I would call it a 50% finished object, because it's only one sock done, although I do need to get the second one done. That was supposed to go there. This is supposed to stay over here. I finished sock 1 of the golden ticket. Paper Daisies Creations is her Instagram name, and I think she goes Linda K. Ross, I think is her name. So last time I had shown this off. I don't know if I showed it off on the last one or the one before. I had made it up to the point where right before I was supposed to do the detailing before I did the cuff. So I finished the detailing and I did the cuff. So here is sock number 1. If I show it this way, you can actually get to see where. Oh, sure, hide behind it. So this is what it is so far. I have a bit of a waste. Well, I have to actually start the second sock. I haven't done that yet. I got the yarn still rolled up there. I got the needles and everything there. Just waiting for it to go. So it turned out pretty good. It still feels a little bit bigger than I want it to, but at least now I know what size needles I would need for something like this. I'd probably go down half a size or something like that. But that's one sock done. I marked off where my gussets started so that I remember when I do the second sock to measure it against it, so I know where to do it. I'm having a hard time talking. So I know where to start doing it on the second sock. So that takes care of all of my works in progress that I haven't shown off yet, that I've shown off. So now let's talk about new cast-ons. Last week was the first time I was able to go, not last week, week before last was the first time in a long time I was able to go to the Toronto Knitters Guild meeting. And of course, you're there, you have to have something to knit on. And while it would have been great to bring the socks don't take up much time. The scrapness socks don't take up much time, because it's only going to be 10 rows in total, and then I got to put it down and just wait. While the blanket would have been great to bring along with it, it was too big, too bulky, was not happening. So I picked up a ball of yarn, and I brought it with me, and I casted it on while I was there. So I sat down at the meeting, and I casted on this. This is how far I've made it so far since then. So this was like a week and a half of work. So I started it, and by the time I finished the meeting, I was probably at about there. What made me really want to use this color was because on my Scrapmas socks, I actually started using it for this stripe here. And I thought that was really cool because while on the front, all you see is pink and purple, when you turn the back, it's black. It made me realize that it's swirling. You can see it actually, I think, a little bit better on this one if you look at it from the front, on this foot. Yeah. So it's right here. So you can see how it's like kind of like blocks of it are pink and purple and then the rest of it looks black. It's because it starts to swirl. And I'm like, okay, so that's how that works when you dye it like that. I was very excited about that. So I decided I want to see what this looks like full skein. So here's how it looks like full skein. I did the first part with double pointed needles because I didn't have any, what's it called, magically circular needles available at the time that I could find. So I started using double pointed needles. Okay, it looks fine. I was just curious to see how it was. But when I got to about the point of the heel is when I finished my Advent socks, my Scrapmas socks, so I switched out the needles. And I pulled out my Addie's Sock Rocket. Size 0, as what I do practically all my socks in. You want to know what I realized? Not until today. You could see the difference. I don't know if it's tension or what, but the spacing between the stripes are very, very different. Up here it's much tighter. Up here it looks much looser. But the thing is, I kind of like that. I like the bottom part here. So I would bring it with me to work. I'd put in a few stripes. Go to somewhere, I'd put in a few stripes. I didn't really work on it that much. The biggest point of me working on it was today. I went to, for the first time in a long time, I wasn't scheduled to work on a Sunday. So I decided I was going to go to the Knitting Loft, the yarn shop around Dufferin and Wilson in Toronto. It opened up, I think, in October. Yeah, October, I believe, is when it opened. And I went a few weeks ago. And afterwards, today, they have a knitting, they have a, group that comes in to meet on Sundays and, just come in to knit. So today was the first Sunday I was actually able to go. And I went in. So I sat down there. I got to see other people. And I just, basically, I started about here. And I just knit my way down. So now I'm at the point where it's time to put in the toes. So I'm excited about that. So I will do that probably later on tonight. Maybe I'll get started on the other sock. I don't know. So here's how much I have done for the first ball. I'm pretty certain this is one of the ones that when I was winding it, it got stuck inside my yarn winder thing. So I had to break it. So the yarn this is, I call it Cisco. Mostly due to, if anybody watches Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Very big fan of the Star Trek franchise. So that's what I call this one. But specifically because this is Deep Space Nine, I came up with an idea as to what I wanted to do for the coloring for it. So it's basically, if you can follow this, I think in DS9 was the first time that you really got to see their uniforms with this like purple color, kind of like this, maybe a little bit lighter than this, and it was like kind of like the default shirt color underneath the uniform. So majority of their uniform is black. They've got the purple, this one, which becomes the undershirt of the uniform, and then afterwards the color of their station, right? So if you're on the command track, you get like a reddish burgundy color like that. So that was those are the three colors that are in it, and that's what made up this. I had the idea for other ones. I'm going to try them out and see how well they work. I'm pretty certain it will work out just fine. But I did come up with names for it. So this one is Cisco. I think I named the one, if I do it with blue instead of the red, I call it one Bashir because he was a doctor on the show. I don't remember what I named the other one, the yellow one, which is security, because I don't really talk much about the security officers, or the security officers on the show don't actually wear the uniform. Like, who does security on Deep Space Nine don't actually wear the Star Trek uniform. So I don't know, maybe I'll just name it after Miles O'Brien. We'll see. So that's what I'm doing for that. So that was my new cast on, which is almost finished for the first half. I've got the other half of the ball sitting inside here waiting to go for my second sock. Whew. Okay, so that takes care of all works in progress. I guess I'll now start talking about my new acquisitions. What should I start with? Some of them are yarn related. 2 of them are yarn related. I got a set of needles. No, 2 sets of needles. And yeah, okay. Let's see what we can do. So, well, I guess we'll go with the oldest. Well, one of the oldest one. First things first, I needed a way to put aside my sock yarn already balled and ready to go. So I got myself this big old thing. It's actually meant to hold Christmas ornaments. Yeah, when I bought it, my coworker looked at me, she's like, "You're going to put yarn in there." I'm like, "You know it." So that's this big thing. I don't know if I'll get through all of it for the year, but I will try my best. Inside of here is my first purchase from the Knitting Loft. Did I keep the paper with it? No, I did not. Okay, I'm not exactly certain. This is from, I got it from the Knitter's Loft. This is the Slytherin colorway. I'm seeing the label in my head. It starts with a B. I can't remember the name, but if I do, I'll try and put it on the screen there. So I'm going to knit that up because when I did the Pottermore quiz, apparently I'm a Slytherin, and it worked out well because that's exactly what they had in the store when they got it. So that was one new purchase. It's a self-striping yarn. I'll probably start it after I finish my Cisco yarn there. Will you stay shut? Okay, I got that. I also got, oh, they're there. I got this bag. I can't remember what brand it is, but I got it at the store, and I absolutely love it. So it's like a waterproof bag. You can get, I use it to put my yarn in. The advertising, like on the bag itself, says you could use it to put your gym clothes in and all of that kind of stuff so the smell doesn't go anywhere. And forget that foolishness. This can hold yarn. So while I was there, I also bought these 2 buttons. Now I bought this one. This one I bought from the Knitting Loft. So it says Yarnaholic. I thought that was so cute. I actually had a hard time deciding because I have a vast selection of these enamel pins. I had gone to, where did I go to? I went to Hand Knit Yarn Studio in Hamilton, and while I was there, I picked up a set of needles that are currently, I think they're somewhere over there. They were they ended up being Xiaogu sock needles in 0 because I didn't have exactly what I wanted. That was the only thing that was there that I liked, that I was willing to go home with, so I did. That's somewhere there. And while I was also there, I also picked up this enamel pin, which looks like a skein of yarn, which I thought was pretty. So, but the only thing is, I don't really like putting these on the bag, or if I do, they're never coming off because they leave holes. I'd prefer to get a canvas type of bag, because if you get those and you put them in there, you can usually kind of put it back so it doesn't really break the thread and it doesn't really get left with a hole. But I will try that. But another reason why this is great is you can really scrunch this bag up pretty small, and then, mind you, you'll do a neater job than I did, and then you can just put the elastic around it to get it to stay where you need it to stay. It's Sweat. That's the name of the brand for this one. Hold on. If you can see that. Okay, that's the name brand for that one. Put that over there. Okay, so that takes care of Hand Knit Yarn Studio. And then today, I went to the Knitter's Loft. And I picked up a few things. Some of them one of the items I was eyeing from before, and I knew I was going back to go get that anyways. So, one of the things I bought was there we go, is a new set of sock blockers. This one, it's by Bryce Spun. I don't know, I just knew I saw it, and I knew I liked it, so I picked up a pair of sock blockers. Steel ones, stainless steel ones. So, there's that. I also got another set of sock needles because the Sock Mojo has hit me hard again. So they didn't have the Addy sock rockets, but they didn't have it at Hand Knit Yarn Studio either. So I guess it's one of those things where I'd have to, if I see them, then I'll buy them, but I just got to find something else. I ended up looking for sock needles again because the ones that I was using for my Scrap My Socks from, was it? No, they were not Lakey. I can't remember what they're called. Either way, the join on them started to become rough. I did not like what happened. It wasn't like that when I first got them, but it was really annoying me when I was working on my Scrap My Socks. So I'm like, that's why I got the Xiaogu ones when I was in Hamilton, and then I got these ones because I feel like I'm preferring to knit them magic loop, and apparently all of my size zeros have disappeared, poofed out the building, don't know where they are. So I needed to get more, and I bet you now that I've got these, I'll end up finding the rest of them, whatever. So there's that. The other thing that I got today is, it's in yarn. So it's this beautiful cream color. It's by Sugarbush. I think it's bold is the line. So Sugarbush yarns. So this is enough, a little bit less than what I need to make a hat. For the hat that I was looking at. So I'll have to see how well that goes. But I just kept looking at the color while I was sitting down and knitting my socks. I'm like, I need to get this color. I want to knit a hat out of this. So there you go. And I believe that is everything knitting related. There's only one other thing that I got that I want to start working on, but it's one of those activities or hobbies that will take up a lot of space, and I don't know if I have the space to do it. I'll show it to you. I wasn't even planning on doing this, but I figured I might as well. Is it in here? Let me see for a second. I think you can get to see it through here. No, that's not the best way to do it. Is this the best way to do it? Okay. So, I don't know if you guys have seen these online or seen it at Michael's. Let me put that back on there. That is part of it. That's what I'm going to be working off of, but it's not easy to see from that. And I'm sorry about the crinkling. So, it's like a beaded work type of thing. But the picture that's on it made me really, really like it. So, this is what it's supposed to look like when it's finished. But it's one of those things with the size, it's going to take a long, long time and lots of tiny little beads to be working with. I don't know when I'm going to start this. One of my friends from my Tuesday Knitting Circle actually got it for me, and I really, really like it. So I'm looking forward to it, and I'll get to it eventually. My plan is I want it to at least be started before it hits June of 2019. That seems like a fair enough plan. As for, you know, it's the end of the year and everybody talks about their knitting goals. I kind of have some. I kind of don't. I don't want to, in a sense, limit myself. Sorry, this is taking longer than I thought. One moment. Close enough. And sorry. And I don't really want to limit myself. I just want to knit. One of the things that I do want to do is I do want to finish a sweater. I want to either finish... No, I want to finish one of the sweaters that I have going on. I have at least 2 that are well in progress. One of them just needs a sleeve and a button band. The other one needs... It's partway down the body, and I just need to finish it. So these are both cardigans. I don't understand why I can't get them done. I should be able to get them done. So I'm going to work on that this year. And then I actually really want to knit a sweater from beginning to end. I still got that purple yarn up there that I put aside, but I don't know when I'm going to do that. And that's mostly due to the problem that the yarn didn't get dyed the same way. So I'll see. I'll see how that works. But I will do something with that. That's pretty much it. Anything else to share, like news-wise, is not my news to share, even though I so want to. But when I get the opportunity, I guess maybe I'll talk a little bit about it, but not yet. So that is going to be everything for today. I guess I won't talk to you again until next year. And so I thank you for spending your knitting time with me. I haven't recorded as much this year as I probably wanted to, but it's one of those things where I don't feel pressured to do something on such a fast schedule if I don't really want to do it at the time. So I'm happy with the way things are going. But if you have any suggestions for improvement, I'm always going to be open to that. So if you have anything to say, let me know, and all of that kind of stuff, any kind of suggestions, let me know. That's going to be everything for today. Thank you for sharing your knitting time with me, and have a good day. Bye.